You know, there were a lot of good games this year. So many good games that they couldn't fit on GameSpot's top 10. But that doesn't mean we're gonna let them just go fade away and not be seen or recognized or talked about by us. So, this video is gonna showcase a bunch of games that may have not made the top 10, but that doesn't mean they're not incredible, or at least meant something to somebody. So, without further ado, here are the staff picks of 2025.
I'm gonna say something controversial. I think Mario Kart World was overrated. Actually, I don't think that's controversial. I think a lot of people are kind of feeling that. Not a bad game, but I think when you look at the other kart racer Nintendo put out, Kirby Air Riders, it doesn't really stand up to it. There is so much going on in Kirby Air Riders. There's traditional kart races, which feel great. It uses that one button, kind of one button. Technically, there's another button you need to hit, but it uses that one button style of racing. And it seems simple, but there's a lot of depth underneath there. Once you get used to it, once you see all the little things that can speed up your star or your machine, and the way you use all that strategically in order to overtake opponents. Now, that's only kind of part of it though. As fun as the racing is, the highlight, I think for a lot of people, is City Trial. There is nothing like City Trial in any other game. It is basically a multiplayer, chaotic party battle mode where everyone explores the city, collecting power-ups, finding the machine they want, and then building that machine in order to succeed in a randomized mini game. Is it competitive? Not really. There's a lot happening, a lot of chance, a lot of RNG. However, that core loop is so much fun. The chaoticness, the fun builds, the random mini games, it all works so well. And there's also some very fun kind of game-breaking secrets that appear if you collect the right pieces that I think make it spectacular. What's even cooler is this is all tied together in a single player mode called Road Trip that pulls from all the different modes in order to create these really cool, unique challenges as you slowly build up your ride. Kirby Air Riders is without a doubt one of my favorite games of the year, and I think that's why it is a spotlight for GameSpot.
My favorite games of the year that I wanted to show a little love was Obsidian's Avowed. You know, the RPG genre is really changing very rapidly with games like Clair Obscur and Baldur's Gate 3. And I was very much anticipating to be let down by something like Avowed because I just thought that that traditional kind of RPG formula that Obsidian has dipped into multiple times before, the game was going to feel way too formulaic and really stale in a sea of RPGs that are really pushing the envelope. But I was surprised to find with Avowed that it just really refined that Obsidian experience. It made a world that was really fun to explore, and the traversal was actually like pretty fun, moving around the world, climbing up things. It didn't feel stale to control the character, and it ended up making a world that felt big enough that it felt real and that there were plenty of things to do, but not so big that I was tired of it before getting to the end of the game. It felt like the Goldilocks size for an RPG of that scope. What I really ended up coming out of Avowed loving was its combat. The mix and match system of being able to equip kind of weapons on the fly and move between dual wielding wands, sword and shields, dual axes, pistol into wands, like all those combinations were just really fun to make, and not a single one felt inferior to the other. And I found that the game was kind of pulling me through with its combat because the game made it so fun. And so, yeah, shout out to Avowed. I think that they have something really cool with that Pillars of Eternity universe, and I hope that we see another game from them in this formula.
One of my personal favorite games of this year was this little visual novel called Cabernet, which is, if I had to compare it to any game, and if you've watched these videos from us before, you'll know that I gushed about this when it came out, it almost feels a bit like Pentiment. in that you are this character who is communicating with other people to kind of solve a bit of a mystery and also just learn how to be a vampire. That's the premise of it, is you're a newly turned vampire, kind of coming into society and figuring out how to both be a vampire and be a part of this new community. And there's kind of like a bit of like this dark mystery in the background. It's a very choice-driven game, so you can't make everyone happy. You do have kind of this morality that goes up and down depending upon how humane you act or if you kind of fully give in to your vampiric tendencies. And I like games where you can't win necessarily. Like, obviously the game has an end state, but you're kind of forced to actually make some pretty hard decisions. And, you know, maybe not everybody in the town survives the whole experience. It had quite a few moments that were pretty shocking and larger scale than I thought it was going to have. I also think that the writing is just really, really good too. So it really leans into like this very fun, choice-driven RPG experience that I couldn't get enough of. The people who I've talked to who have played it all are just like ride or dies for this game. But I think it's worth shining a spotlight on it just because not enough people have played it. I think it's a really easy game to play, and I think that it's like the perfect winter break game. So highly encourage people to check it out if they haven't.
The game I want to highlight from this year is Atomfall. I loved Atomfall. I loved Atomfall because it does this wonderful thing where it doesn't really tell you what to do. It gave me breadcrumbs. It gave me little nuggets all over this world that then unfolded on its own. I also think it's low-key like one of the best detective games I've ever played. And the reason why I think that is because it presents to you a series of clues, bits of information, and none of it is categorized in importance. So when you're looking at your quest log, it's not categorized as side quest or main quest. Everything you find, from the smallest, most insignificant seeming thing to the biggest, most, this is what's happening in the world reveal, all of it is categorized in one list, making all of those things basically just as important as one another. And a thing that the game does exceptionally well is that those small things that seem to be nothing end up leading to something quite significant, and it does that over and over and over again. The game is also designed in such a way that you are likely to find the same clues around the world at different times. So instead of only finding this one important thing at a very specific part at a very specific time, the game does a very clever way of planting stuff around that opens these routes to you that feels so natural and organic, as if I was really finding them on my own. The fact that I can't think of another game that displays information to me in such a way makes Atomfall feel novel. I also just like gaming experiences that allow me to exist and absorb a world in my own way, in my own time, without ever being told how I'm supposed to experience that world. And Atomfall does that. It's just, I don't know, it sets up a perfect world that I'm very excited to return to, and I hope Rebellion makes more Atomfalls. I'm a big fan of Atomfalls. And all the Cornish pasties that are laying around. Can't get enough of those. Literally can't, you can't, your inventory's too small. Otherwise, I'd be carrying 100 of them all the time.
One of my favorite games of 2025 was And Roger. And I'm gonna be really annoying here and say, up front, I'm not gonna tell you what happens in that game. I'm not gonna spoil anything narratively. I really encourage you to go and seek it out and play it yourself. It's only an hour. And so I think in terms of time investment, I'm not asking a lot of you, but the emotional payoff you will get from playing And Roger is quite significant. It put me in the shoes of a character and told a story in a way that I really, truly think only games can. And there is a really powerful story to be told at it. And I think, honestly, it's one of those things that will really stick with me for a very long time. And I think I will make people in my family play it. So I'm sorry for being vague. Sorry for vague posting on Maine. However, I will say that I recommended this game a while ago, and I don't think I've had as many people message me to say thank you for recommending it. So, take that guidance as what you will. So sorry. It's basically a visual novel. It is incredible, and I think truly kind of a testament to what games can do in this wonderful platform. So that is why And Roger is one of my highlights of this year. It's difficult when you can't really say what's going on in the game.
One of my personal favorites of the year, a game that I just want to spotlight, is Ball X Pit, or I guess Ball Pit. There's debate about how to even say the name. It's spelled Ball X Pit if you need to search for it. It is a roguelike Arkanoid or Breakout-alike. You have a variety of little characters that have different types of balls that they fire at the enemies. You're managing the bouncing off the walls and into the enemies, ricocheting them. It seems kind of deceptively simple at first, but it gets much more complicated as you get more characters that fire 2 balls simultaneously or always fire from the back of the lane. It's just endlessly addictive. I have to force myself to play one game at a time and then be like, okay, I'm done for tonight, because otherwise I'll lose my entire life to this game, Ball Pit. So highly recommended if you're into roguelite, arcadey, fun, little time wasters.
South of Midnight is one of my favorite games of 2025. It is just an unapologetic love letter to the American Deep South. Funnily enough, developed by a developer that has nothing to really do with that region of the world, but they put in the work, they put in the research, they put in the time to try to understand this part of the world that does not get to be in a lot of mainstream video games. And using a combination of ambience recorded in the region, a beautiful orchestral score, this wonderful lyrical album of music, and just these fantastic vocal performances. They create this just gem of a game that transports you to a place that not a lot of people, I think, have gotten a chance to really explore and appreciate and love. It's a little bit reinvented. Compulsion Games adds their own little gothic spin to the American legends and myths that this story tells, but it's all in the service of creating a game that just really leans into incredible, immaculate vibes that I love so much. I've listened to the soundtrack for this game on repeat all year, and I probably will going into next year as well. It's just filled with incredible music. I love the protagonists, I love the stories, the legends, the myths, all the characters. Even though there are aspects of this game that give me pause in terms of the combat and platforming, the narrative more than makes up for any sort of shortcoming that this game has. And for that reason, it's one of my favorite games of 2025.
A game I want to highlight from 2025 is Root Trees Are Dead. I just surprised my cameraman because he thought I was going to talk about something else. Root Trees Are Dead is one of my favorite games of 2025, and for the very simple reason that I have never played a game that quite gives me the feeling of piecing together a mystery in the way that Root Trees have. There's a lot of detective games that I've played over its many years, and there's a lot of different approaches to how you want to be a detective. Something like Silence of Bly Manor, I think, does a good job of letting you role play the overall feeling of being a detective, where Root Trees hones in on the very specific aspect of gathering evidence and making those mental connections in your brain. The way that you use the computer to search names, keywords, information about this ridiculous family that runs a candy empire, and you're trying to just figure out who belongs to who and who's related to what, and are they even related? And the rabbit holes that you can go down are just so fun and entertaining. And also, it is an extremely well-written game. It has to be, because it's all writing. But what impressed me the most was how much extra writing they put into the game that has nothing to do with the mystery at all, but needs to be there to make the world feel full, to feel fully realized, so that you can find what's actually important within those. But even when you go down that rabbit hole and it has nothing to do with anything, it is exceptionally well written and often funny. So I don't feel like I wasted my time chasing a lead that went nowhere because I still got something out of it. The level of satisfaction that I got out of Root Trees is something that I feel that few detective games can truly give me. And for that reason, it is one of my favorite games of 2025.
A game I want to highlight is a game that probably many of you will think doesn't require any special attention. It's Metal Gear Delta Snake Eater. And I say that because everyone knows Metal Gear. It's a blockbuster game, but because it's a remake, it's not getting as much love as I would like it to receive. And I am biased, obviously, because I love that series, but I think what Konami managed to do with that remake is pretty special. It doesn't try to do too much, but it doesn't also just leave Metal Gear exactly how it is. It makes some really smart changes to bring it in line with modern gameplay, and also does an exceptional job of taking what that game is, the soul of it, from a visual perspective, and bringing it back to life for a modern age without ruining what it is. It's one of the greatest games of all times, it's one of the most memorable stories of all times, and it's got the coolest characters in games ever. And to see it come back in such good style and playability has been really, really, really exciting for me. I'm so glad that they made it, I'm so glad that I got to play it, and I hope they carry on.
And there you have it, our staff picks. Trust me, it's never easy trying to figure out where these games go, and I bet you there's even some games that you would like to shout out, so now's your chance. Go in the comments, let us know the game that you loved that you don't think made the cut in any way, shape, or form, because remember, we're just here to celebrate games and be happy and excited about games. Anyways, thanks for being you. Enjoy your gaming. See ya. Wow.